This episode brought to you by the following patrons: Andrew, Sunzi, Stephanie, Natasha, Laura, Goratica, Vance, Boezy, Jeremy, Ali, Nathan, Mr. Ragebomb, Libby, Wes, Dreskel, Aaron, Kristen, Tia, Lauren, John, Kate, Alex, Isaac, and Karoon. And all the patrons want you to know you're loved, you're listened to, and you're a valuable member of this awesome Horror Virgin community. And if you want to hang out with us, do so in the Facebook group where we hang out daily. So here we are in Kansas City. We just watched this all together in the same room.
Yes.
Michael P. Randolph farted on me during this viewing.
And I made a joke because we were eating crab rangoon pizza that the smell of it was crab rangoon. And now I am sitting in my bedroom alone in a cloud of crab rangoon farts that I created myself. This is really a hell of my own making. Thank you for tuning into Horror Virgin. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd, which means I don't like scary movies, but you guys make me watch them. And this week, we all got together in Kansas City and watched Deadstream.
Deadstream.
No, this is way better than Dashcam. This is if Dashcam's protagonist was not a bag full of shit.
Here's what I will say between the two.
Tell me everything, Paige.
This is a better movie and a better story, however.
Way better.
I think the horror parts of Dashcam are still scarier and the effects are better.
Oof,
and so there's a part of me that, like, if I could marry the two, I would marry the main story of this one with the scares of Dashcam, personally.
Yeah, but like the main character of this one instead of the main character of Dashcam. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. The guy in this, super charming, loved him. Thought he was hilarious. Loved everything about that dude.
I wonder why.
He's definitely still annoying. Like, he is still annoying.
Yeah.
But I do like that the movie recognizes that he is annoying and they're playing with it.
Do you think he comes off as annoying?
Yes, 100%. I think people with that personality really do come off as annoying. And I can't really put my finger on it, but it's like something about that personality and that character specifically remind me of something in my life.
See, it's not because it reminds me of Todd. I think Todd is a lot more self-aware than this.
I wouldn't go that far, Paige.
Paige, you're in a real good mood today.
Thank you.
I carried her luggage in today. That's why she's on my side.
That's right. He was nice to me. I think that this guy has something that a lot of YouTubers and other people have, which is like a desperation and a need to be like that you can like smell through the screen. And I think that he captures that perfectly. I mean, like, obviously he's an actor, right?
Yeah, I think he crushes that YouTube personality perfectly.
Yes.
So I picked the film because I really like the scares of Dashcam, but not the story as much and the main character as much. And I watched this and it made me laugh. One, I think it's really funny and it kind of suckers you in by like being like, oh, this is like a straight comedy, like horror comedy.
Yes.
And then like you get like 35 minutes in.
It gets legit
just, like,
scary.
But then the humor always works throughout the film.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think that's an important piece of why I think this is a super scary movie, but maybe the best movie we've done in a while as far as like it being super watchable. And the comedy beats, even after it gets super scary, still super work. Beef Cam is hilarious.
Oh, Beef Cam is hilarious.
And that's at one of the most tense moments in the movie.
Yes, but like, it's so funny.
It helps break that tension a little bit, and you're just like back in it, ready for another scare, which I hated this movie, guys. Like, I loved so much about it, but I hope to never watch it again. I jumped out of my skin like 5 or 6 times. I mean, you were there. You saw it.
I did.
I really like it. It gives me a lot of like Evil Dead vibes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's actually, in fun facts, there's a couple hidden Easter eggs that I will reveal that are Evil Dead-like.
No doubt. But like, I liked it. I thought it was scary. It worked for me. It was really funny. And then like, a fan showing up to a live stream to like be with you is maybe the scariest thing.
Yes.
I think if you're a content creator, some of these jokes like really hit in a way that's stupidly funny.
Yes. I mean, it really hit in a way for me that I felt very like seen and then also like made fun of, which is also an area I'm comfortable with.
Yes.
So like it was enjoyable to watch because don't get me wrong, when he is like talking directly down the barrel of his GoPro camera that's like streaming and he's like over speaking and all of that shit. I was like, oh fuck, I do this a lot. Like, so there was a lot of this. I was like, oh shit. Like, I honestly, Mikey, I need to show, and Paige, I need to show both of you guys like the earliest YouTube videos I did.
Oh, we just watched it though.
Because
we just watched it all together.
Deadstream, yeah.
No, I mean, like, it was bad. It was bad.
I mean, I think one of my favorite things like that really is for like either people who watch a lot of this content or create a lot of this content is when one of the ghosts at the end is smashing his head into the floor and she just says, smash that like button. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Those comedy beats super work. And that's also at a super scary moment because she is just like popped out of nowhere and thrown him to the ground. You know, like it's super scary, but she is wanting people to smash that like and subscribe button.
Smash
Well,
it.
her whole mythos is about like influencing people and fame and all that stuff, which I think is really funny.
Because she was a content creator in the 1880s.
Yeah. The demonetized pun is
very,
basically
very
why
funny.
The whole reason I picked the movie. So
yes. For me, I liked this a lot because it does feel a little Evil Dead adjacent.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I feel like if you like Evil Dead and if you like Evil Dead and you're a content creator of any kind, this would be hilarious. But if you like Evil Dead and you are interested in kind of what that would look like in a new media format, I think this is a great representation of that.
Yeah.
And it's Evil Dead-y in the, like, you know, the effects are not always great. There's a lot of shaky cam. And as much as I would love, like, dash cam level effects, because the effects in dash cam are fucking terrifying, I think that to a degree, the goofiness of this is somewhat like it all kind of ties together.
It works.
It's one of those things where like I want to see someone give this person a lot of money and then see what they do with it.
Yes.
And it's a husband and wife duo, which I didn't know until the very end when they like pop up the credits. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, like that's cool too. That it's a husband and wife that put this together and did like almost all of the jobs that made up this movie, like the acting, all of that stuff. But I want someone to give them $60 million and have them make 3 movies. I bet those movies would be amazing.
Absolutely.
I know this. We've not recorded in the same house in a long time, and Todd is so loud. He is just so loud.
It's not fair to say. I am literally in the room next to yours, and there's no door in between us.
I can hear you echoing out of Paige's mic locked in her room. So that's how loud.
This is how I talk normally. You know that. We're friends.
I would say we're more business partners at this point.
Well, I guess that's true.
Yeah, so we're in Kansas City for Panic Fest, and we're going to record a couple episodes while we're here.
Yeah.
And enjoy each other's company.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the show's on Saturday. We got here on Wednesday.
Right.
And we're like just hanging out together for a few days. And then we're going to just hang out together for a few days after and then go home. So it's like what do they call those? Like a company retreat?
It's a company retreat.
Yeah, that's what we call it.
I was so excited to watch this in person with y'all and show this movie to y'all in person because I've been trying to find movies that scare us as much, and I went on a good run with like Incantation, and
that was the last time we did a scare the shit out of Todd month, and you guys really dug deep and found some scary ones. And I'll say this was as scary as those movies were.
No, Incantation is so much scarier.
Incantation probably is a little bit scary, although I can't remember what I gave Incantation, and I'm going to score this high.
I think you gave it like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to give this a 3.
Oh, fuck that. Oh, man.
Mikey, you watched this movie with me. Like, it was a 3.
But the first time I watched this, I was very scared.
Yeah.
I laughed through a lot of this movie, but I will say there were like 3 or 4 legit jump scares that we all were like, oh no,
Dude,
my God.
When he moves the tablet and her face is right there, I thought I shit myself like I was brushing my teeth in Mikey's bathroom. Like it was so scary. Mikey did not care for that joke. I apologize, sir.
I mean, we did get a bunch of Diet Dr. Pepper at Target, so it's only a matter of time before one of us graces one of these Airbnb bathrooms with a surprise.
I love that we spent $212 exactly at Target on food alone and then came home and ordered $100 worth of pizza.
Okay, but that pizza was fire.
We're so
I feel like this
bad
is fiscally irresponsible with company fun.
No.
I'm taking control of this podcast.
No. If you were watching our social media, you may have noticed that we were eating crab rangoon pizza.
Mac and cheese pizza.
And mac and cheese pizza and pepperoni. That crab rangoon pizza was surprisingly it's like flavors you don't expect.
I didn't touch the stuff.
It was good, Todd.
I believe you. I just don't like seafood. Plus, I was pretty full on my mac and cheese pizza.
It didn't taste seafoody. It more just tasted like rich, where you got like a little bit of saltiness and then the like
good.
cream
it
cheese and then the like chili drizzle on it. It was good.
And a little bit of wonton sprinkled on top.
Yeah, a little crunch.
We also got some crab rangoon dip that we couldn't
that we haven't even
get
touched
to
because we were too busy eating
because
pizza.
we ordered too much pizza.
Well, we can reheat it. It's in like a reheatable thing.
Yeah, so I'll make a commitment right now. I will try that when we reheat it.
Yes.
When we reheat it, not rehit it. Excuse me.
I was very impressed. It was very delicious.
I was very impressed with this movie.
Yes.
From the writing to the performances of the people on the screen to, and I do get that this is like low budget horror. I actually have spent the last like 20 minutes while we were setting up looking for what the budget was, and I cannot find it anywhere. Everywhere I've seen them talk about it, the husband and wife, they just say low budget or ultra low budget. It's one of those two.
Here's the thing, because they're making it and he's in it and they wrote and directed it.
Yes.
And a lot of this is filmed on GoPro. A lot of it.
Yes.
And so I strongly suspect that this is under 100,000. Like, I think this is pet project level low.
I think so too. I think honestly, so like the equipment they used to pull this off, minus the iPads, all that stuff, but like all the cameras, all that gear I have.
Yeah.
Like I have all of that. And it's not that expensive. That's why I have it.
Well, and it's a single location film.
Yes.
In a location that is probably condemned, that they didn't have to do a lot of set dressing, but it's a lot of just him running around.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you don't pay yourself a salary and you're, maybe they paid for editing.
No, they edited it too.
They edited it too?
Yeah, and they're filming it at night after their day jobs. Like, that's sort of the vibe I get out of this. But it's also spectacular. Like, if that's the level that they're doing as, like, I don't want to say hobbyists, but like, as low budget filmmakers, they're crushing it as low budget filmmakers.
And it's not really criticism, but the only time you can tell it's low budget is when you get really still shots on the creatures or the makeup.
Yes.
And it takes you out of it a little bit, but not much. You can tell that people put their heart in it. And they do some creative stuff with like the camera angles and like the scares and stuff. It's really creative.
Chrissy just wanted to bite that dick. Let's just talk about it. Like,
funny. Let's talk about it.
Was scary and hilarious and sort of sexy all at once. Like, I didn't know what to do with how I felt about that shot.
Well, she's part of the greatest generation.
Mikey, you're not wrong.
Can we, before we jump into this movie, talk for a minute about why, as a content creator, a fan just showing up out of nowhere when you don't expect them is so terrifying? Because I feel like if you are not in the position of being a content creator who has people who follow your content, you might not understand why this is so scary. I have tried to explain this to people a couple times, and I'll try. So when you consume content, listen to podcasts, watch people on stage,
or YouTube or Twitch or whatever,
anything.
Yeah.
You get a very detailed view of what people are trying to show you.
Yeah.
And it can very much make it feel like you know someone very well.
Yeah.
However, on the flip side, the person making that content makes that content in a vacuum. So like, we sit here and record and like, we know each other, we talk to each other, we hang out with each other, but we don't know any of you. Like maybe a handful of you that we've like met at meetups over the years or something like that.
Yeah. Like, let's say hypothetically you make a joke about pasteurization and Paige and Todd don't like it. But like the general vibe out in the community is that it was a good joke,
I honestly will admit, Mikey, a lot of people did DM me directly to say that joke was a banger, and I'm just dumb, and I'll take that. Like, I'm fine with that feedback.
No, I'm going to stand on this because pasteurization is not about pastures. It's named after Louis Pasteur. We can't get into this right now.
Paige did some research so she could rebut this. This is what's happened.
It's a pun. It's a double entendre, but non-sexual.
It's neither. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, sometimes you'll be out in your regular life and someone will recognize you or something and run up to you and be like, oh my God, this. And if you're not expecting it, for us, it's the equivalent of a stranger running up to you and suddenly knowing a lot about you and you don't know why and you know nothing about them. And it's a very confusing, disconcerting experience. At like a meetup or something where we're ready to see you, we know that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not ready for it to happen, it can be kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
And so that on its own is terrifying. And then on top of that, she turns out to be a ghost.
I knew she was going to be a ghost. You could just tell.
Because how'd she get into the house?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, like for sure.
Exactly, Paige. I've actually had someone do that to me while I was live streaming when I lived in San Diego.
Ooh.
But it was a legit friend of mine. He didn't tell me he was going to like go to where I was. And I think he may have been out and just checked in with my stream to where I was and sort of walked over because I was close to sort of the gas lamp district where he worked. Anyway, so like he just showed up and it scared me so much. I mean, I knew. I was like, oh, mine, man. I love that guy. So he's great. Like, it's fine. But it scared me so much that is so easy to do.
Yes.
That I stopped doing like in the world streams. I only did like 3 and I sort of hated it because it does sort of make you the worst version of yourself, if that makes sense.
I feel like there should be some responsibility there. Like maybe you make yourself the worst version of yourself.
Well, that's why I stopped doing it. No, I completely agree. But that's why I think you sort of have to either lean in and just be a toxic version of yourself or don't do that anymore. Because, you're trying to get people to watch the stream, and to do that, you're doing things like you wouldn't normally do. Like, I remember when I was out walking around San Diego, right before I moved back to Nashville, I was like walking in the street and they'd be like, hey, go hit on that girl, go push that guy over or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to do any of those things.
Yeah.
But when my man showed up, it scared the shit out of me. Not that it was him, but that you could do that.
That someone had recognized where you were.
So I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. I can't do this anymore.
I have like a weird in-between with this where like I have to post shows and stuff so people can come.
But you want people to come to shows, right?
I want people to come to shows.
You don't want people to come to your grocery store when you're just grocery shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I understand what you're saying. And I have been recognized out in the wild before.
Yeah.
It's never bothered me, but it's happened legit like 4 times. So I would imagine like Tom Hanks gets it all the time, right? I bet he does get annoyed with it sometimes. For me, it's still like, hey, can I take a picture with you? I can't believe you recognized me, like that kind of thing, Yeah. So it's like, it's more novel for me.
It depends on how people do it, right?
Yeah.
Like the trouble I have sometimes at like shows and stuff is depending on the venue, I might kind of be out and around if there's not like a green room, but I still have to like check in and prepare for the thing and like get ready and remember my jokes. And so like sometimes someone will just like orb up and be like, I want to talk to you for 20 minutes. And it's like, that's so nice, but I do have to go on stage. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So like that happens sometimes. But at least then I'm like, well, I'm at a show. I'm asking for this.
Yeah.
It's happened to me at like events. Like I go to a family thing and somebody brings a friend and then they realize that it's me. That's a little strange sometimes.
Yeah.
Most of the time people are cool. But yeah, when it happens just like legit in the wild, one time Mondo was at Disneyland.
The first time I ever got recognized was at Disneyland.
Yeah. That's always risky.
I still have the picture of the guy who walked up to me. He was like,
yeah.
You took his picture? You're like, can I take a picture with you for recognizing me? Thank you.
I literally did take a picture with him. I had my girlfriend at the time, who I'm no longer with, but like she took the picture of us together. I still have it. Not that girlfriend, but the picture.
So it's happened to me, but with work, not with podcasting.
Oh.
And it was like one of the scariest moments of my life. Because, I sometimes have to put people in a hospital. And so I'm in a parking garage. It's like dark. It's at night.
Oh, my God. Mikey, set the terrifying scene. Good God. Could it be more scary? Parking garage late at night.
And I'm like the 3rd floor. Like I'm like in the, like it would take a long time for me to get out of a parking garage.
Yeah. You're going to get winded. You can't jump out. You're too high up.
You're trapped.
Seemingly out of nowhere, I hear, Mike.
Oh,
no.
And out of 2 cars comes an unhoused individual.
I'm sorry. He came out of 2 separate vehicles?
Like between 2 cars.
In between 2 cars. He got out of one, got into the other, then got out.
He appears unhoused, and I believe he was at the time.
Sure.
And he like starts just coming up to me because he's like fairly close. Like he's like, Mike. And I was like, this is it.
This is how I die.
This is how I die.
So is this someone you would help before and he remembered you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't recognize him until he got very close. And I was like, oh. And then he hugged me. And he was like, thank you for helping me.
Okay.
Now, Mikey, I know this because I'm your friend. When he hugged you, did you push him and say, "Stop hugging me, Todd. It's weird. Stop forcing this on me"? Or
no, I gave him the 3 back pats.
Oh, so you actually hugged this person you barely know? Okay, okay, I get it. That's fine. That makes sense. Yeah, of course you would.
And then he left. He was like, thank you, and then he like went on his way, and I went on my way, and I was like, man, I thought I was gonna die.
So I want to point out that Paige's and my stories were like, yeah, people notice us out in the wild. And Mikey's was like, here's this guy whose life I may have saved who wanted to hug me because of the great work I do here in the Nashville metropolitan area. And I've never been so high-roaded in my life.
Well,
and I love everything about it.
I was going to say, it's hard to listen to your stories from up here on the high road.
Allow me to low road us for a bit. So I have been distracted for the last 5 minutes because I have the fun facts up and all of my targeted ads. All of them are for King's Hawaiian rolls.
Yes.
Paige, how else am I going to get a 6-pack if I don't eat King's Hawaiian rolls? That's how you get the abs.
I know. That's how you get the abs. Just like when my cousin tried to get bigger tits as a teenager and ate a bunch of carrots, and then her mom had to tell her that carrots were for her eyes, not her Hooters. It was a weird Thanksgiving.
That all happened at Thanksgiving?
She'd been eating carrots for weeks.
Guys, when he jumped out the window and it shows it from the outside, like he's like, ah! Like I laughed so hard. It was so fucking funny, man.
One of the things I do love about this, and what I love about my favorite horror movies is where a protagonist does stuff that I would probably do. I think him and I diverge when he goes, I'm gonna do this ritual and go back inside.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, no.
But he reacts to things pretty much how a human would react to the things going on.
Yes.
And that makes me stay in a movie so much better.
Same. Yeah. I really do think that they do an amazing job with this movie.
I would have jumped out that window if I was doing this. When that baby came through the sheets and he had to go back the other way, I was just like, no.
We all three
so
of
wild.
us. Yeah, I stood up a little bit. That moment was so scary.
That and the little forest golem.
This is why it's so fun to watch movies with you because, of course, we're watching the movie. Of course, we're paying attention. Everybody calm down. But we also are sort of mystery science theatering it to each other.
Yes. I'm really excited for when we watch On the Line later this week.
That's like, we're doing that, I think, tomorrow, Paige.
Tomorrow,
anyway,
yeah.
But that's going to be a fucking bonkers episode. Anyway, you guys had just told me the story about Molly Shannon on SNL where she like farted and then her pregnant belly went away and like
whole thing. Yeah.
So I saw the bed now had like a kid in it under the blanket and I was going to make the joke, maybe the bed needs to fart. But as I got to the punchline, it zooms towards us, and I just stood up and yelled. I was so scared.
I loved that, how Malignant has a Bacter. This had like a front.
Yeah, it's a Quado, right? Like
it's a Quado, yeah. Quaid, open your mind.
It was like, get your ass to hell.
Well, you see, if you killed your conjoined twin in the womb, but then you get killed by a ghost, the soul of the conjoined twin you consumed is still on you and grows more in your afterlife. Like that is common knowledge.
Is any of that any knowledge?
Is that common knowledge? Is that like the common knowledge of the nude green M&M that I showed you earlier today?
I will never recover from seeing that picture you showed me. Paige, while I was driving.
I put it in the rear view.
I literally did see it in the rear view mirror. I almost threw up.
I've put it in the rear view of my life, and I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I literally had to put the green M&M in my rear view and never think about her again.
Never think about her very wide boobs.
It wasn't even that I had a problem with.
Yeah, but they changed her shoes, They changed her shoes, yeah.
It's the shoes,
it's the less fuckable shoes. Let's protest and be real weird about it.
It's okay. I'm going to take my machine gun and shoot up a bunch of M&M packets.
You guys realize if we did either of those things, we would be on Fox News as like canceled podcasters and we would just become right-wing grifters and terrible people.
At this point, I'm like 30% sure I could do that based on just sarcasm alone. Like if I just started speaking in only sarcasm, I could get there.
I like the arts too much to hang out with those people.
Honestly, yeah, I couldn't do it.
They're like, you seem to hang out with way too many of the gays. I'm like, yeah.
They would cut to me as a Fox News pundit and be like, cut to Mikey and be like, yeah, everyone needs machine guns to shoot everybody. Don't we all need to kill everyone with our machine guns? And they're like, he makes a great point. Like, no one gets...
No one understands that Mikey's been doing a bit for 6 years, but you're paying him $500,000 to be this Fox News commentator. So he's going to keep doing the bit if you're going to keep paying him a lot.
Yeah, just like, let's go to Mikey. What does he think? We should force all the gays to marry. Yeah? And they're like, oh, yeah, great point. Yeah. Thanks for the colorful commentary.
You know what? I was fine until Crash Bandicoot came out as non-binary.
Yeah, he changed his pronouns to Jag and War. I actually don't know what kind of animal Crash Bandicoot is, but...
It's a bandicoot.
It's a bandicoot. It's in the name.
It's in the name.
Can you tell I grew up in a way that I couldn't afford that system?
It was an N64, I think.
It's a PlayStation. Crash Bandicoot was PlayStation.
Yeah, it was PlayStation. We had a GameCube, but that was it. We were Poe.
It was just a Rubik's Cube, but we called it the GameCube.
But man, it would take me like 10 minutes to finish it.
It's Sonic and Eve, not Sonic and Knuckles.
First of all, it's Sonic and Tails. Second,
no, Sonic and Knuckles is a canon Sonic game. Come on, everybody.
It is, but it's after Sonic and Tails. Tails is Sonic's sidekick.
Why do you guys think they call him Knuckles?
How are we already into Sonic's sex life?
You're the one that brought up the fucking name Green M&M.
Edit all this out. We've got to stop. We're attracting the wrong kind of audience. I'm just like, hey, did you hear that new podcast about like sexualized cartoon characters?
We have talked about how fuckable Tony the Tiger is.
Look, he is an alpha king with wide ass shoulders and a deep voice, and I will hear no slander about it.
I bet he's great.
I bet he is. I mean, he's also a tiger, so he's probably pretty good with pussy. I apologize to anyone who's uncomfortable. Get comfortable.
Todd, would you spend the night in a haunted house if you were guaranteed 5.2 million viewers?
Which haunted house?
A real haunted one.
I would spend the night at the Winchester Mystery House for that.
Alone? Probably not. I don't think I can handle it. Like, I barely made it through the movie as it is.
I think, Todd, I think you have not really examined how bad it could be to spend the night in a haunted house with Mikey and I. Because we could very easily make that a terrifying evening, whether the house wants to or not.
Oh, shit. Yeah. And you guys are mean to me, like, as a bit.
Yeah, that's right, Todd. It's a bit.
Oh, yeah, a bit.
I do sort of hate the dynamic that this like little brother, big like sister, big brother dynamic that we have. I don't love it.
And I'm the youngest.
By far the youngest.
I'm just picturing Mikey having crab rangoon farts, just like, answer us if you need to speak from the beyond.
It's an EVP.
An extra vaporous presence.
All right. If we're just going to fuck around, let's get into the movie so we can talk about it scene by scene.
All right. So we open on the intro to the stream with Shawn. And I do love that. It kind of sets up that his channel is him doing things that he's afraid of. And there are all these made up challenges. But my favorite is the one that you called out, Todd, which was the Baby Moses challenge. I laughed so hard.
I know. It's so great because he is like swaddled. Like he can't move.
Yeah.
He's swaddled in a big ass blanket. He's got like a bonnet on. He has I called it a binky, but it's like a pacifier.
Like a giant pacifier.
Right? And it's like, and then they just push him in a raft and he just like fucking off down a river.
Like whitewater raft.
It's so stupid. I loved it.
So funny.
It was so funny. There are a bunch of other ones. Like the cop one was really funny. The dog sledding in the freezing cold and he's like, only got his underwear on and he's like got ice all over him. It's so funny.
It is wild, but this is also where we learn that he's back from 6 months of being canceled.
Oh man, the way they reveal that shit is so funny though, because he like comes on screen, starts talking, and then like it makes a sound or whatever, and then like the news articles come in and like beat him up, and then he like shows his apology video as like what defeats the news stories.
Yes.
And that made me laugh so hard because especially if you know anything about like the big YouTubers.
I mean, it seems like a video. I mean, it seems directly like a video that would be right.
It is. It 1000% is. Like your T. Martin videos, your PewDiePie apology videos, like all of those. They feel exactly that same way. And they all have that same fucking thumbnail with him like crying or whatever.
Right.
It was perfect. Like they did such a good job nailing that personality type, which I recognize is very similar to mine. Like I think the only thing you'd have to change about the personality type in the movie to make it exactly me is add a little bit of Lil Sweet, the Diet Dr. Pepper.
Lil Sweet coming out the trash.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Justin Guarini, by the way. Yeah.
If you added little sweet to this guy, that's Todd. You end up with a Todd.
This made me laugh extra hard because this was actually a plot point in the most recent Party Down season. If you hadn't had a chance to watch it, you should.
Oh, interesting. Party Down. This is the first time I've heard you mention Party Down, Paige. Let's
you know what? It's on fucking Stars. Pay for it. We write it off on our fucking taxes.
I don't watch shows that were canceled because they weren't good the first time.
They were good the first. I was one of the 13,000 people watching the finale. Anyway, in the original finale, a character does something that could potentially be misconstrued as white supremacist. And in the new season, 12 years later, it comes back and he has to make an apology video for it.
Oh, love it.
It's great. But it's very much that same like, hey, Nazis aren't cool, okay? But it was like, exactly.
Thumbnail is just him crying big crocodile tears.
Yeah, the whole time we watch this, Todd is turning to me and he's like, why did he get canceled? Can you tell me why he gets canceled? I'm like, it'll bring it back up later.
When we find out why he got canceled, I lost my mind because like I can't point to an exact specific person who did it, but I'm like, Logan Paul would totally say, like, he would totally do that. Like, this is just like when he went to the suicide forest.
Oh, God. Yeah. The Paul brothers are not like the best people in the world. So, yeah.
Right.
But they used to have I don't think it's around anymore, but they used to actually do like something called bum fights where they would pay two unhoused individuals to fight each other. I'm pretty sure that got shut down a long time ago.
No, that is still around, although it floats around the internet, yes.
But like... when we found out why he got canceled, I was like, oh, that's actually not as bad as I thought it might go. Like, I was worried that we were going to get another, like, who was the girl from the other?
Oh, dash cam. You thought it was going to be another dash cam.
I did thought it was going to be another, like, alt-right dash cam moment, and I'm glad we didn't get that. Sorry, my brain is, like, shot. I've been up legit for 22 hours.
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing a little experiment here while we're keeping Todd awake the whole time he's in Kansas City to slowly drive him mad to replace him with a different co-host.
Whenever he starts to fall asleep, we just mash Crab Rangoon against his face.
If you're a true fan of the podcast, you know we replace a host every 2 years, and we're basically...
We're due, you know? I would say something that this movie does wisely different than dash cam is that the things that are annoying about the main character are just his personality.
I feel so attacked every time you guys say something like that.
Well, even when we find out what he did, it is one of those things that is terrible and tone deaf, but is not necessarily, it doesn't have an agenda behind it other than he wants to be famous.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And he made a bad choice.
It definitely reminds me of something Todd would get in trouble for. Like, he doesn't mean it maliciously, but it looks terrible on the internet, and that would be something that Todd goes down for.
That is one of my greatest fears.
I understand.
That makes sense.
Push and believe.
It's not really anymore, but like when I was first doing Twitch and stuff, and like,
would you like to like, share, and subscribe with us about this?
Smash that like button.
Yeah. So everyone gather around. Let me tell you a little story about when Todd was on Twitch, and I was like, that was my full-time job. So like I was doing things to drive up viewership, and like, of course, that ups the revenue and stuff. And I got to the point where like I was making pretty good money, but like I didn't love who I was, and I also was working. I was on stream 7 hours a day, 6 days a week. And then after that I was like creating YouTube videos. So I was like working 12-hour days every day. So like that's another reason why I walked away from it. At least streaming full time. I still stream some. I love it. I love the medium of it, but I can't do it full time. But like I get that I'm a lot like this dude.
I think you are more self-aware than this guy.
Well, I think that's why, and it really was more the schedule than it was me like wanting to not be the worst version of myself in that moment. Because I wasn't going to therapy at that time of my life either. So when I was like, I got to take a step back, because it really did sort of destroy that relationship that I was in. And I came home and started to do therapy. I was like, I don't think I want to go back to Twitch for like the reasons you shouldn't want to do that. Not just the schedule, right? But I do miss streaming every now and then.
Well, and it's definitely one of those things where when you become a content creator and it gets popular by any stretch, you really have to keep yourself in check and be like, am I making the thing that I want to make because I want to make it?
Yes.
Or am I making it to try and get popular?
Right.
And you really need to make the thing that you want to make because you want to make it popular or not.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you start doing just the thing to be popular, that's when it gets bad.
And that's when it gets soul crushing. Like I was a CSGO streamer. So I streamed CSGO 7 hours a day, 6 days a week.
I don't know what that is.
It's a first-person shooter game. But
okay.
I got to a point where I built up a really good audience on that game. And I got sick of playing that game that much, right? Because it's literally like 40 hours a week I was playing that game. So I would play other things, and people would be like, why don't you just do what we like that you do? Like, why don't you just keep doing that thing that got you to where you are, you know? And I was like, because I play it 40 hours a week, I have to do something else. So I really do, on some level, empathize with the main character of this movie, because his income stream is his viewership, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So he is sort of locked into... I got that in this movie. He had been sort of canceled, lost sponsorships, and was in a financial bind. They don't really go into like figures, but I get that vibe from him. So like he has to do this. And that made me sad for him, but also like he can't go. He has to stay here or die.
Yeah, we'd hate for him to get a job.
Mikey, that job that he does is so hard.
It is.
Yeah,
really
but after
hard.
you get fired, you're fired.
Well, yeah, and if you get fired by all of the world, like because you get canceled, it's hard to come back from that. You can't reapply at Venus. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but also, I even experienced some of this of like, I have a mortgage now. And so I'm like, yeah, I can't quit any podcasts. I can't.
Wait. Were you thinking about that?
Good.
Hang on.
Excellent.
No,
Excellent.
it's just, you know,
Hang on.
it's like, it's my whole thing about having DNA and having the opportunity to murder people. You got to keep your options open. Or like,
That was not her saying no, she's not thinking about it. You guys heard that, right?
I have to keep writing for other shows to make sure that, like, you know, we've got enough money to be comfortable and not be freaking out every month. And it's stuff like that where there are times where you're like, man, I just want to write this weird space thing that I'm working on. And it's like, no, you have to write the things that make money first, Paige.
Is that the pilot you sent us?
Yeah, but I had to expand it. I'm working on it this week
Paige, you gotta finish that.
because I'm on vacation.
Paige, it's so good. At least the version you let us read like 5 months ago?
Yeah, the newer one is expanded a little bit. I like where it's going. I just need time to like.
Yeah, you got to knock it out. I understand that.
Yeah.
And everyone I've talked to that's written stuff, and I've written just a few things, has always said, the thing I hate most about writing is writing.
Yes.
And I get that so much. Like, writing is so hard.
Well, in part too, because like you get to a point where you're good enough at it that people offer you money to do it. But then you are forced to choose between writing the stuff that you want to write and like to write and the things that people pay you to write, which are not bad things and are not like, it's not that you dislike doing that. And it's very cool that people give you money to write things. So few people get the chance to do that. But at the same time, you're just like, man, I just want to write about this weird space shit. But instead I have to do like 3 research papers a week.
Yeah. On top of your day job, Paige.
On top of my day job.
And then 3 podcasts.
And then 3 podcasts.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, one of those research papers is for one of the podcasts.
That's fair.
I'm on.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, I totally get
Yeah.
that, because that's essentially why I've tried to keep a day job in all of my creative pursuits, because if you have to create to pay the bills,
Yes.
you're probably going to have to create for somebody else.
And things that you don't like.
Yes. So
Because you're just like, I'm an artist. And it's like, okay, yeah, you write dick jokes. Let's be nicer about
listen, dick jokes have gotten me through some rough times in my life. So like,
Hey, dick jokes are flying me to Tokyo in June.
exactly, Paige. Yeah. We need to move on. We got to go pick up Mondo in 2 hours.
Yeah.
At midnight.
At midnight, the witching hour.
I will have been up for 24 hours when we get to go get Mondo.
Oh, I guess it's going to be the bitching hour because Todd won't let us forget that he hasn't been to sleep.
All right, so let's move on. So
Yeah, let's get into it.
he sets up this idea that he's going to do something he's afraid of, which is ghosts. And he's going to go to a haunted house that he knows is haunted and stream from the haunted house. And he literally... This movie wastes no time. It is great as a found footage film because it really moves the whole time. The only time I found it dragging was a little bit in the 3rd act, but then it just like, it's literally just pausing between scares at that point.
Yeah, it is. It's freaking terrifying. Like, I think we get to the haunted house like 20 minutes in. Like, it's super fast. Like, we see the...
Well, he sets up the cameras and stuff.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So, but we're there way before that, though. So, yeah, it's probably more like 10 or 15.
It's 10 or 15 minutes. He gets there, and it's following like his stream. Like, he's filmed all of this to introduce it. He parks his car and then he throws his spark plugs into the woods.
Oh, wait. We have to talk about how the video ends and it cuts to him at the scene where he's
with
going to
the T-shirt.
Because the T-shirt gag
Oh
is
my God, I forgot about
best
the T-shirt.
joke in
That's the best
movie.
joke in the movie.
It's so
funny.
good, Paige. Because The video ends, and then it cuts to a black screen with text on it that just says, and Paige, I'm sure you wrote it.
I got pretty close because I was taking notes on my phone when we were watching it. But it just says, in 2022, a YouTube content creator went missing. This footage is the only thing that was found. This is his story, basically. Like the same thing that's at the beginning of every found footage movie, right?
It felt so Blair Witch Project to me. I thought I was on a date with Rachel and 5 other guys.
Well, to be fair, every time you thought you were on a date with Rachel, it was not. So like, that's just par for the course.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, that's. But I did love the reveal because it's just he pulls back the T-shirt that text is on, and he reveals that it's just a T-shirt. He's like, these shirts are available in our store right now. And I thought that was so funny.
I want one of those shirts so bad.
Paige, I would buy and wear that shirt. If we had that shirt, I would wear it to our show on Saturday.
Hysterical. Yeah. But yeah, I want one of those so bad. That was such a good gag. If you are someone who has watched your fair share of like found footage movies, it's exactly that. It's so funny.
It is poking fun at a found footage trope in such like a good natured and funny way. I loved it. Mm-hmm. But that's how we arrive. But he does eventually pull the spark plugs out of his car and throw them into the woods, which is insanely stupid.
In the dark. He does this so that he doesn't run away. The funniest part to me is that when he did it, all 3 of us are like, he'll never find those again.
I know, and then later in the movie,
he fucking finds them immediately. But something else happens. But we'll get to it. But like,
he must have had an Apple AirTag on both of those. I don't know how he got there so quickly.
He got so lucky. But so he's basically like, it's a haunted mansion. He goes up to try and get inside. Everything is boarded up.
Dude, and the boarding is like super creepy because it's not boarded up like there are boards across like the windows and stuff like you might see at a hurricane. It's boarded up like that, but also boards leaning against those boards, like dug into the ground to keep whatever's in the house inside.
Yes,
it was so like just the outside of it is creepy as fuck.
Well, that's what an abandoned house looks like. There's teenagers messing with it. There's like stuff done with it. People, the windows are probably boarded up, so there's not squatters. Like they're all creepy and they're all tagged on the inside and stuff. So it's like pretty realistic.
And they're all about $700,000 in California.
Right.
Oh, I was sending Mikey listings that were like $900 for a shack in Santa Monica.
You mean $900,000, Paige? I saw that one. Yeah, that was terrible.
900,000.
I was like, oh my God.
It's not even worth the ground it's sitting on. Yeah, but I do think they filmed this in a real, like a condemned house or like a squat house or something, because it looks like they did next to no set design or anything and just kind of used what was there.
I would love to talk to them about that because
I'm so curious.
They have to have had unfettered access to this place for a few weeks, I'd imagine, to film all this.
I would guess this was actually probably filmed in a few days.
Okay.
Because you don't have that many extra people.
That's true. And all the cameras are like GoPros on the wall. And yeah, I mean, you're sort of acting as your own cinematographer. So, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But he breaks in and then padlocks himself inside and drops the key down a grate.
So dumb. Like, why? Because, of course, he has to stay there overnight. I get that. Like, that's fine. But he has to get out in the morning. It's so dumb.
I think he just figures that he'll find another window or something and get out,
right,
or find the key or whatever.
Well, I mean, and we do see him later pull the grate up and go down and get a key, although it's not the key.
It's just not the same key.
But,
yes.
So, I mean, I think that's what he was planning on doing. But how did he know the grate was there? How did he know the grate would come up? Like, there's so many factors that play into that I would have to test out before I did that.
Oh, yeah. It's very unwise.
Yes.
And he's doing it because he thinks he'll be scared and run away, not thinking that he'll need to run away because something evil is in the house.
Yeah, I think at this point in the movie, he is of the impression that it doesn't exist. I'm going to do my best not to fuck with it too much.
Yeah.
But he did bring his wheel of stupid, so he's going to fuck with it some, because all of those things are fucking with it on some level. But when he is confronted with the facts that it is haunted, he does react in, I think, a pretty real way to that.
Oh, he just immediately is like, get me the fuck out of here.
Because he's an idiot content creator, and I just know that I include myself in that category. He has booby-trapped himself in the house in such a believable way. Like, yes. I totally bought that he would do all of those things, even though they were the dumbest things you could do in those moments.
Well, he needs the money.
He needs the money and he needs the views. Like, man, I understand what it's like to be in that kind of a grind, too. And I was never in the millions. Like, this guy is getting millions of views.
I looked at this as like me forcing myself to watch Deborah Logan in the dark, where I'm just like, no, I want to leave. I did this to myself.
And don't think I didn't notice that you guys ordered pizza and then we stopped with the movie when the pizza got here and it was still light outside. And then we waited till it was dark outside to get into the scary part of the movie. Don't think I didn't notice you guys played your little trick on me to get me to watch this movie in the dark when it was terrifying.
It worked out. We didn't plan that. We didn't know when the sun was going to go down. We just knew that our bellies would be full of crab rangoon pizza.
How dare you two team up with God to pull that over on me?
God or the Ninja Turtles? Because it sounds like something they would create.
What? Crab rangoon pizza?
Yeah. They were always putting weird shit on their pizza.
Yeah, they were.
Anyway, crab rangoon pizza. Get into it. 2023. It's the year of crab rangoon pizza.
I wish I remember the name of the pizza place because it was good.
Old Shawnee Pizza.
There you go. That's the place. It was really good, guys.
Anyway, so he also at this point has his own soundtrack on cassette that he's calling, his name is Shawn.
Oh, it's just so good.
But it's Shawn Carpenter's Halloween Mix is what it says.
And it does sound like John Carpenter's little brother who like really looks up to him is doing his best job to like mimic his older brother.
Yeah, just toy Casio keyboard. Do, 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 do. Yes. Anyway. So he starts setting up cameras around the house. And as he does, he kind of takes us through the different rooms. There's the room downstairs where the corner man is. And he kind of takes us through the story of a man who had nightmares of a man standing in the corner and that he would whisper about the pond water being still.
Yeah.
So he sets up cameras there. He then goes upstairs to where Mildred, one of the people, hung herself in that hallway and kind of her bedroom beyond. And he sets up cameras there.
And he also establishes that it's her house. It was built by her father.
Correct.
To help her find a husband or like to entice someone to be like, oh, they must be a wealthy family. I bet I could marry into that.
Right. So she could write like an article that was just like, come see my nice house. Triflers need not apply. And nothing bad would ever happen, right?
No 1880s version of Scrubs, please.
Yeah.
Hanging out the passenger side of your best friend's carriage, trying to court at me.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, he then establishes there's a nursery where like multiple children have passed away.
I think it was 2 babies and 3 kids. I think it was 5 total.
But is he counting the Quarto as 2?
I think there were 5 separate kids, and the Quado type entity was a 6th.
Okay, where it wasn't part of the kid count.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Where it was definitely part of the Martian resistance.
Mm-hmm. Or to escape child labor laws, they just melded all of the child ghosts together.
Yeah, and you call that one by using the Ouija board and just spelling out the noise that Arnold makes on the surface of Mars.
They've got no air.
Got to get your ass to Mars, Quaid. Anyway,
is that a rom-com and or a horror movie?
It's neither.
Damn it!
It is a sci-fi action film that I love dearly because it is madness.
Yeah.
But anyway, all the cams are motion censored too. So occasionally it cuts to some of those cams where you know something's happening, but he hasn't noticed it.
And also like when it cuts to those cams, because it'll automatically cut away from him, even though he's talking, it'll cut to the other room. And you don't see anything. And that to me is super creepy.
Yes.
And there's one time where we don't see anything. At least I didn't see anything in the moment. And then
I didn't see anything either.
Goes back to it. And there clearly was something there. And I think they made it more easy to see.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe it wasn't there in the first time. But still, it scared the shit out of me. I fucking hated it.
I like all his chat interactions throughout the whole thing.
Oh, man.
Yes. Well, which we're about to start getting into that because he sets up cameras in the bathroom. And this is kind of when we start to get the first instances of it.
Dude, the bathroom was creepy too. We'll spend more time in the bathroom later, but that shit was creepy.
We will. But the chat is, it's the same as chat in Dashcam where it's just like fake or like look behind you or just like tits. Like
one thing I did like is that his chat did research for him and they would like link videos or whatever.
Narratively, it's really smart how it like moves the story forward some of these ways.
It's such an effective way to do this type of storytelling. And it's so like it's cool to see because this is not a type of movie I could have envisioned before like 2010, 2011. Just because this type of streaming wasn't done. You couldn't do it, right? Like YouTube was a thing, but it was starting out. Like it had been out for like 3 years at that point. So like I just love seeing this type of evolution in horror. It's very cool to see.
It is. And I also like that not only is the chat driving the story and giving him suggestions and things like that, but it is also constantly taunting him about PewDiePie being better.
Yeah.
And that's so funny to me, especially because PewDiePie has been canceled how many fucking times? Like so many times.
Yeah, a lot.
That's the comparison. It made it so funny to me.
I thought it was funny because Wrath of Shawn is way better than PewDiePie.
Well, you know, PewDiePie almost got canceled when he was playing that one game, and he said
well, PewDiePie has been canceled for a lot of things. Anyway, so he chooses one room to be his safe room. And I think one of my favorite parts about this is he's like, nothing's ever happened in this room. That's why it's going to be my safe room. And then immediately finds the sigil in the closet. Like immediately.
I love that too, especially thinking back on it now because he destroys that, and then we find out a few minutes later that is what was protecting that room from having any weird shit happen in it.
Right.
So now he's fucked. There is no home base safe place.
Right.
So like, I loved that reveal in this movie. It was very funny, but also it was also scary. It ramped up the oh shitness of it.
It did, and this is also where he introduces the wheel of stupid things, which he spins to determine what he's going to do. But while he's doing it, he's sipping his energy drink sponsor and being like, thunder. And I was just like, oh, hey, do you think Liquid Death will answer our emails? Real talk, though.
I think they're sponsoring Panic Fest again.
Are they really?
Yeah, I think so. We should talk to him tomorrow.
We should. So the Wheel of Stupid Things says that he has to do a seance.
But it's like a twister wheel. Like you flick it and there's like an arrow that spins and then it lands on something, right?
Yes.
And the first one it lands on is seance.
So he goes to the nursery to try and talk to the children. And first he finds an evil clown doll under the bed and does this whole thing of like, okay, I'm touching something of yours. You should talk to me.
It is pretty much a, hey, I got your doll. Come at me, bro. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, come at me, bro.
And I was like, listen, as much as I love the music of Destiny's Children, I would never hold a seance. This is just foolish behavior. Say my name when my demon is around you.
Any other day I would call, you would say, baby, how's your day? But today it ain't the same. Every other word is, and okay, could it be that you at the crib with another demon lady? Anyway, so he uses that little doll to do what he thinks is a seance. He hears a thud and he just takes off running. Like, I do love that any sign of ghost anything, he just runs indiscriminately. Like, he doesn't pay attention to where, he just takes off.
It was remarkable to me how much when he's running and like screaming like to get away, he looks like Mikey's dog. When Mikey's talking out the dog, because it is sort of like he's looking back with his head, but his arms and legs are like flailing about, running, trying to get away as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's just Macy.
Yep. Macy is operated like a marionette.
By the devil.
Hey, everyone. No need to worry. Everything is bone. So anyway, he pees in a bucket.
Unprovoked. Like, you don't even know it's coming. I honestly thought he was getting that bucket to turn over to sit on it, Paige. And then you hear him go zip and you start to hear the pee come out. I was like, oh, this is unprovoked. I was not ready for this.
Yeah, that bucket didn't even consent to wet works, honestly.
I need you both to unpack this with me.
Okay, let's talk about it. Did this awaken something inside you?
No, the movie pretty much takes place real time. He pees once. There's a gallon or half a gallon of urine by the time he gets waterboarded.
Yeah, that's a lot of pee.
Oh, yeah, we're just going to reveal that immediately. Yeah, she later waterboards him, or the demon later waterboards him with his own pee.
So gross.
But if he's only peed once, he needs to get checked out. That's a lot of pee.
That's a lot of pee, and he's very dehydrated.
Yeah, it's very colorful.
Yeah.
This waterboarding smells like asparagus for some reason. Oh, man. Gross. Anyway, he pees. And while he's peeing, the chat is like, there is a ghost. Oh my God, check the cams. You're missing it.
I love when he finally finishes up. And Mikey, he is peeing for a long time. It's like an Adam Sandler sketch.
It's like in A League of Their Own. It's the Tom Hanks pee.
There's no crying in haunted houses, but there is.
See, around here, the house moves, not the stage.
But I do love that when they first, like the chat reveals that there's a ghost, he like looks at the photos they've screenshotted and he's like, listen, guys, I know how Photoshop works. I've been doing it since the 8th grade. Like, I know how it works. And And then he goes back and checks the time code from the screenshot they shared, and there actually is something there, guys.
There's very much a ghost.
He freaks out.
Yeah, and immediately freaks out and like starts trying to get out of the house. Which, listen, this is the first sign of anything real. And that is the moment that if I was in this house to begin with, which I don't think I would be, that is the moment I would leave, though. Because you have confirmation that there's some supernatural shit.
He tries to leave, I think.
This is the, I know it exists, so I'm not going to fuck with it part of the, it doesn't exist, but if it does, don't fuck with it. Like paradigm.
So he doesn't leave because his whole thing with the sponsor is that he has to check anything out, right?
Ugh.
So, but this is where he's like, I'm very nervous about this. Send puppies. Watch me soar is what he says.
Because I'm a nerd, I was like, oh, that's a Wash reference. Like, I'm a leaf on the wind,
from
watch
Firefly?
me soar. Yeah, those are his last words.
Maybe that's exactly what it is.
I know. That's why I thought it might have been a Wash reference. But he doesn't die in this moment. So it probably isn't.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's the last thing he says before Wash dies, I believe.
But he, like, tries to go up to check on the nursery and sees the door start to open.
No.
He takes off running.
And all of that, like, that's all practical effects. It literally
Yes.
is someone just opening the door behind it. Like, my brain can rationalize that out. In the moment I'm watching the movie, I am terrified that there is a ghost behind me about to murder me. Like, that is the level of scared I am. I hate it so much.
Well, he takes off running back to the safe room, but the door to the safe room opens, and who should be there but a fan?
Oh, no. Chrissy.
Chrissy. Do you think this ghost has been watching people stream for so long and that's how it can act like a good fan? Or do you think this ghost like absorbed the internet?
I think it's whoever is there.
Yeah, we do know because we've watched the movie that this is Mildred, but it's just manifesting as Chrissy. And I think Mildred knows how to play along because she's been watching the stream the whole time he's been in the house for an hour or so while he's setting up the cameras and doing all the talking with the stream and stuff like that. So, like, in my mind, she was just learning all she needed to learn so she could do this to start driving him crazy to get the results she wants.
Right. Well, and she very quickly is like, no, I'm a fan. I'm this. And the fact that he is not terrified of her.
Yeah.
And that he's more just, no, I'm like, fuck her, run. She's as dangerous as anything in the house.
Well, absolutely. But chat being what chat is on things like Twitch, they were like, yo, Chrissy's hot. Chrissy stays. Don't kick Chrissy out.
Yeah. Ask Chrissy for her number. Yeah.
And I was like, I hate that because I know this woman is evil because I've seen horror movies before, but I knew that she was not going anywhere. And he like puts it to a poll. Like he has them vote and she crushes the vote. So she stays.
Yeah, she stays. Now they start to go check things out and she seems to just disappear.
When I watched this the first time without y'all, I thought either she was just added. At first I was like, okay, she's either evil, which becomes apparent quickly.
Yes.
Or she is a fan that is a little unhinged.
Sure.
But also added to up the body count.
I thought she might be there to up the body count, but very quickly was like, nah, something's not right.
But when she turns, I never see it coming. You just don't see it.
It's so, I mean, I knew something was going to happen. I didn't expect it to be what it was because essentially they go looking around. They end up back in that closet.
Yeah, because where they were, they get scared back to the closet.
Yeah. They go into, there's like a little basement area. They find a trunk that has her poetry and a little box that they take.
Yeah.
And they go back upstairs.
But the poetry that is in that book, it's sort of like a diary looking thing, honestly.
It's Mildred's, yeah.
Yeah, it's Mildred's, which we see and they confirm, but it's like a book of poetry. But one of the lines is the line that
about the pond water.
Yeah, the pond water line that the, not tall man, but the
corner man.
The corner man, thank you, was repeating.
It's because she wants everyone to know her poetry like Vogon poetry. Like that's essentially her arc in this movie.
Her arc in this movie is she wanted to be an influencer in the 1880s and like she sold her soul to the devil. Like
I think her arc is a foil to his arc, which is they both really enjoy what they do.
Yeah. But Mikey, I think that this movie is sort of saying that in order to be uber successful at that, you sort of have to sell your soul to the devil.
See, this is where this movie and Jennifer's body collide, and it's one of my favorite parts of Jennifer's body.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Because they're basically the same person is what this movie basically says.
If you're an indie band and you don't get on Letterman, you basically just have to sell your soul to the devil. It's your only option.
Yeah. And I enjoy that reading of this movie. Like, there's so much for me specifically to love about this movie. And I just found it terrifying.
Yep. So she keeps suggesting that they go upstairs. Like, oh, let's go to Cornerman's room, or let's go to this room or that room. She kind of leads him to that cellar and then puts on an amulet. And I was like, no, not the amulet. Amulets are always bad.
She puts it on right in front of him. Like, I saw that and I was like, that's not good. Like, she recognized that amulet and she is putting it on for some reason. You're screwed.
I don't know, man. When you meet fans in person, because I've only done it a couple times and I've been not weirded out. That's the wrong word. But it's a new experience that is uncomfortable. It's just weird. And so you don't know what
it
to
is
expect.
A weird experience. I'll admit that.
I mean, I chalk it up to people who know a lot about you, but you don't have the same, like, you don't know about them, right? Normally, when you make friends in real life, you learn about each other at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And like, I come from like a family, a group of friends, and a work environment where it's like, if you like start saying something you know about me and I didn't tell you, I'm like, who told you?
Yeah.
Tell me who it is.
I didn't realize you grew up with Jack Bauer.
No,
Yeah.
it's more like the Dark Knight. I'm like, where's Rachel? Who told you I shit my pants?
Yeah, we did. That's the other thing too. It's like you forget the things that you say on the podcast almost right after they leave your mouth.
Yeah.
And so like it is this experience of somebody seeming to know you a lot and then you don't know them at all, and it really kind of puts you on weird footing. That's why it's better at meetups where we're prepared for that.
Yeah, it is sort of like we are the world's most clueless criminals that are under surveillance. And like we're meeting the FBI agents that have like been spending all this time listening in on our private conversations with each other, you know?
Right.
Like we finally get arrested and they know everything about us and we're like just meeting these officers for the first time.
Yes.
They're like, you're under arrest for being hilarious.
I'm like, oh, you're so thirsty. How do you know all this stuff about me?
There were I got a thirst tweet about Mikey today. I was like, why are you texting me this?
Let's read it because it made me so happy. Can I read it?
You can read it.
I'm not going to out who it was, but it says, damn, Mikey is the thick with 2 C's. God, praise the thick, but spelled Thick. So like thick appears twice in this thirst tweet 2 page about Mikey.
Yes.
But spelled 2 different ways with 2 different meanings.
They were really emphasizing that thickness.
And I understand both of them perfectly.
Come on, get down with the thickness.
Another girl said, I forgot how hot Mikey can be some of the time.
Only some.
Your response to her was perfect, though, with like only some of the time.
Well, yeah, sometimes he eats chicken wings.
Yeah, Mikey, tell me how much you hate being desired by women.
Well, I wish it showed up in my real life.
I mean, but Mikey, here's the thing.
Say that
could.
because someone might just show up in your real life
and bite your neck like this lady.
Okay, I like my neck to be played with. I mean, I get it.
Mikey, that is not what you say in response to what we just said, and expect to not get someone to show up at your house and try and bite you on the neck.
That you have to invite them in.
That's not the way it works when they're not really a vampire. Like if they're just a home invader.
You're going to have to load up a magazine with cloves of garlic and be fucking ready.
Just mashing garlic into a clip. No bullets.
I hollow out my own bullets and put garlic in them.
Just like Whistler did.
Anyway, she's like, let's go up and talk to the dead children, basically. So they take a Ouija board up there because they do the Wheel of Stupid Things that says seance and EVP. So they take the Ouija board up there. Now, did either of you notice what it said across the top of the Ouija board?
No, what did it say?
It says Klaatu Verata Niktu.
No shit. Okay. That's awesome.
Love
Which,
it.
again, is originally from The Day the Earth Stood Still as Klaatu Barada Nikto, but it was made popular in Army of Darkness where
of course.
Ash mispronounces it.
Yeah.
Again, linking this to the Evil Dead franchise. Anyway.
That's an awesome homage. That's great.
They're trying to use the planchette to talk to the children. Nothing's happening.
Right.
And she's like, well, maybe chant this Latin thing where it says that you'll protect them. You just want to talk to them. And again, if somebody tells you to chant something in a language you don't know, don't do that.
Which page? He even says that. He's like,
oh my
I'm not going to say just some crazy thing in a language I don't understand. And then she says, oh, it's just saying this. I can't remember the exact words, but it's more or less
I had this same conversation in a soccer game.
What?
Where I was like, I'm not going to do this chant in another language that I don't know. And they're like, it's just cheering on the team, but I could have gave my soul away. I don't know.
Yeah, they handed me a vuvuzela and I did not ask questions.
What were you chanting?
If I knew the language. Have you been to like a pro soccer? Yeah, ole, ole. Yeah. Frito lay. Ole.
Anyway, he chants it against his better wishes. It's the same shit as incantation where she's like, chant after me. And I was like, no, of course not.
I would have mumbled it or something. I'd been like,
Klaatu Verata
Exactly.
Nikto.
She only explains to him like she doesn't actually like give him a good reason to say it. Because he at first is like, I'm not going to say that. That's dumb. I don't even know what that means. And she doesn't.
No, she goes around like Bill Murray in the first Ghostbusters when he goes to Dana Barrett's apartment and she's like, they love this.
You love Ghostbusters so much, you didn't call her Sigourney Weaver. Like, that is how much you love Ghostbusters. You remember Sigourney Weaver's character's name.
Yeah.
I love everything about
because
you.
she, in these scenes, she's like, I'm a ghost hunter. Like, I'm a professional ghost hunter. Like, and I'm like, oh, you need to run, bro.
She's a professional ghost.
Yep.
Doesn't mean she can't hunt as well as be one.
Well, I think she is being truthful in this moment because she does hunt other things that become ghosts with her. Like, anyone that wanders into that house, she goes and turns them insane, and then they become a ghost in that house with her.
Man, Netflix needs to do a reality show that's kind of like Catfish, but where like major relationships where you got ghosted, like they track them down for you, and like
they did that once.
Did they? Oh, I probably shot him.
No, a lot of people didn't answer. I only know this because they were casting it, and I had friends who like got through casting on it, where they tried to track down people who were ghosted, and then they would just show up and be like, "Why?" And then people would just be like, "I wasn't feeling it." Like it was like really anticlimactic.
Oh no, it had to be like a real thing, like your dad.
Oh, that's a whole different bag of chips.
Which is what he said he was getting when he left for the store.
Anyway, so he says it. They hear some things in the room, and as they turn around, she's gone, and then she reappears, and he's like, what the fuck is up with you? You just keep disappearing. And he kind of like calls her a stalker. He yells at her, and she just kind of like creeps, like orbs up, and is just like, and just bites his neck.
Bites his neck like a vampire. It is terrifying. I did not expect the turn to happen that quickly. I knew she was going to be evil, but it literally happens like 10 minutes after you meet her the first time.
And we were watching this together, and y'all were like laughing a lot. And then Paige's like, "Oh, this is not that scary." Todd's like, "No, it's not that scary." And I was like, "This takes a turn." I was like, "It'll take a turn."
Well, and then he stakes her immediately.
Yes, yeah, he does. But Mikey, you said, "Oh, it ramps up." And I got so nervous after you said that. I was like, oh, God.
This is the first one that got me because I did not see her just biting him.
Me either. Yeah, this one super got me.
And then when she dies from being the stab wound in the neck, allegedly, and then he freaks out like he just accidentally murdered a person. He's begging them to call the police. He's like, I need to turn myself in. I've accidentally killed her.
That's super realistic.
And then he turns around and her body is gone.
Yes. And then when I watched this alone, I was like, oh no, this movie's scary.
Yeah, Mikey, I had that exact thought in that moment. I was like, fuck. We have like 40 minutes left of this, and it's already this scary.
Well, and this is also where we got in the chat, they had a change.org petition for him to stop being a pussy, which I thought was really amazing.
It was great.
It was so fun. But so her body disappears. He freaks out. He runs, he looks at the other cameras, and he can see her ghost, or at least Mildred's ghost.
Yes.
Hanging. And so he's like, oh, it's fucking haunted. I need to get out, right?
Yeah.
So as he's looking through this is where he gets a link in the chat for the video of like, here's the thing you destroyed in that closet. It was probably actually for protection, and now you've ruined it.
Yeah. I love how that's like a 12-year-old kid, and while he's like playing that video, and it is just a video someone uploaded to him, so like the kid can't see him and respond or whatever, but he is like, this kid's like 12 years old, like he's like talking to the chat about it. He's like, what does he know, like, or whatever.
Yes.
It's so funny.
Well, but because he can see her hanging in the hallway, he goes to try and find her because he can see it on the camera, but he can't see it with his own eyes. And as he's looking around, this is where Chrissy, who is now Mildred, like it is the same ghost, strangles and bites him.
Yeah.
And he throws her down the stairs and tries to leave, but she's like crawling on the stairs covered in blood. It's fucking terrifying.
It is so scary, guys. It is so fucking scary.
And this is where he like pulls open the grate. He finds a key, but it's not the right key. It's the key to the box, which he opens and has a picture of Mildred and her finger. So now he knows, he's like, okay, this is who I'm dealing with, basically.
Yes.
But he is freaking out. He can't get out. The chat is like, hey, remember the upstairs windows that was open, that one? And he's like, okay, He grabs a rope. He goes upstairs. He ties it to the bed, and this is where there's the little lump in the bed that looks like a kid.
God, we talked about this before. Yeah, it was so scary.
Well, and as he's like
do you
running
guys
up
want
there,
to see my little lump in a bed that looks like a kid?
Nope.
What? No.
I have not had enough pizza for that. But this is also where we see somebody walk past the doorway, just the like corner man or walking through the hall.
Shit, and it's just like over the shoulder, like he doesn't even see it, but it is so scary. I hate this. Oh.
Yes. So there's what looks like a kid under the covers, and then it like fast skitters towards you under. It's fucking terrifying, and he runs.
We all like yelled at the TV in that moment.
That one got me for sure. But he
it was so fun though. Like having that moment with the three of us, like it was just great. I love watching the movies with you guys.
Well, he runs and forgets that he's tied up.
Oh my God.
So he like clotheslines himself in the hallway.
Which I don't think it's necessarily a nod to The Ring, but like it is like done with that much earnestness. Like he is running full steam out of the room and that thing yanks him back when it reaches the end of the rope, just like it does for the guy in The Ring.
Yes. And so he takes off running. He gets another video, and this one is from a professor. It's like, hey, I translated the Latin and it was a binding spell, so you're kind of fucked, basically.
It's like you just gave your soul to her?
Yeah, like literally it was a spell to say that you give your soul to her.
It's so basically wedding vows.
Yeah, you basically might have to kill yourself, essentially, which is like not great. And he's like, I'm not going to. But this is where he goes on a rant of like, I was acquitted. I didn't know that man was homeless. I didn't know he would get hurt. And we're like starting to piece together what he did to get canceled. And you're like, what the fuck? And he's like, also, I'm not racist. And you're just like, what is this?
We don't have enough at this moment to know exactly what he did. But you're like, oh God, this sounds so bad. Like, what did you do, bro?
Well, and so he's hiding in a closet and he's looking at a tablet.
Yeah.
And then the tablet kind of goes staticky. He lifts it up, and between his legs is Mildred's head, and she just chomps on his dick.
It's so that is like worst nightmare type shit right there. Like that is so scary.
It's hot.
No, Mikey, it is not hot.
It's too many teeth.
Yeah, that's too much teeth. I realize you like teeth, but that is too much teeth.
I like a Chrissy in the streets and a Mildred in the sheets.
You know what I'm saying, ladies? He wants you to be supernatural in the sheets.
Disembodied head in your crotch.
It is a disembodied head because he's sitting with his ass on the floor. Like,
yes,
it is coming up.
She like orbs up out of the floor to be like, where that taint at? What them balls do?
What them balls taste
She
like.
wants a lot of kids. I want a lot of kids.
That's not the way to make them, Mikey.
No, that's not how you make kids. You don't bite someone's balls to make kids. She was like, ooh, some Utah mountain oysters.
Ooh.
I think they're called Rocky Mountain oysters when
they're Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, but he's in the Utah mountains. You know, that's why I switched it up.
There you go.
Yeah.
But he runs and jumps out the second story window and lands outside with a broken leg.
It's not broken. He 100% runs on that leg in 6 minutes, but
he cuts it. It's at least got a cut.
It definitely there is a cut for
cut
sure.
Really bad.
Yes. When we see the outside camera and him just like leap out the window.
It's so funny.
It is so funny. And there's no way that wasn't him just jumping into like 4 or 5 mattresses stacked or whatever.
Something like that.
And that to me, like low budget, that stunt is super scary to me on its own.
It's so fun though. But he lands and he's messed up.
Yeah, he fully commits to it though. It's so funny.
He goes into the forest to try and find the spark plugs and magically does find them.
It takes no time. Literally takes no time to find it.
As he goes to pick up the second one, there's like a forest golem just like,
that is an unexplainable creature in the woods. I don't know what it was, but I hated it.
Never know. It's fucking terrible. And then he runs into a sheriff and you're pretty quick, like immediately you're like, there's no sheriff. Cause he's like, hey, where's your car?
Well, I recognize the mustache from the picture of the guy who died in the bed looking at the corner man.
Oh.
So I knew immediately that it was the guy who died looking at the corner man. But I love that he was dressed as a cop because when he thought he killed Chrissy, who was actually Mildred, but he thought he killed Chrissy and he was like begging them to call the cops or whatever, he leaped out, I think, expecting the cops to be shortly there, right?
Yes.
So he does see a cop and he's like, oh, thank God you're here. He hugs that guy. Like,
yes.
But I knew that whole time it was the bad guy.
And I think this point is where we start going more Evil Dead-ish.
Yes.
And this movie does have a great balance of like scares and humor.
It does.
Yes. Because this guy basically quickly is like, hey, I don't like it when you hurt people. And he's like, well, I would never hurt people on purpose. And this is where they kind of get in a fight, and he ends up kicking him in the balls and then hiding in the car.
I did love that the ghost is sort of like debilitated by a kick to the groin. And like, if I become a ghost and I could still have that weakness, that sucks. Like, what are we doing?
Just got to die wearing a codpiece.
I guess.
But he can't see out the windows of the car. So he tapes a GoPro to a Slim Jim.
Beef Cam.
He titles it Beef Cam, which is great. But he uses that Slim Jim to look out the window, and he doesn't see anything out the window because literally as soon as he pokes that camera out, a zombified version of the sheriff breaks through the window to try and strangle him.
Ugh.
And it's rocking the car. He tries to shoot him with the potato gun. And my favorite, and we all laughed so hard at it, is when the sheriff zombie is basically trying to strangle him, and he just goes, license and registration.
It is so funny. I did love, because while the sheriff is trying to get into the car, he is like searching for a weapon. He finds the potato gun and he finds a bobblehead. So he loads the bobblehead into the potato gun.
It's a bobblehead of himself.
Yes, it's a bobblehead of himself.
I should have mentioned that. Absolutely. It is of himself. And so he gets out of the car because the zombie sheriff guy comes in the other door and then climbs on top of him, and he shoots the potato gun with the bobblehead through the sheriff.
Yeah, it creates
and
a
then
hole.
The sheriff like falls onto the potato gun and starts sliding down towards him.
He like skewers him.
It is like a zombie movie. I'm not sure if we've seen exactly sort of this scene in a zombie movie, but like you stab a zombie and it still walks closer trying to bite you. It looks sort of like that.
Yes.
You've seen a scene like this in Tucker and Dale versus Evil when that kid impales himself and the body comes down on top of.
Yes.
Also, Shaun of the Dead has one kind of similar to this, and it's a tetherball pole.
Yeah, okay. I remember that too. Yeah, okay.
But also, in the midst of this, the chat sends him another video, and it's the lady who made the Hamsa.
The one he actually destroyed early. Like at 15, she was a nurse?
A nanny.
A nanny,
She's
thank
a
you.
nanny.
And so she like made that there to protect her while she was in the house.
Right. And she's like, you're going to die.
Dude.
You're fucked, dude.
At first, she was just like explaining it to him or whatever. And then the guy who was recording the video was also watching him talk on the stream. And he was like, oh, grandma, he destroyed it. And she goes, oh, he's going to die.
Yeah.
Just like very matter of factly. It was like very convincing that she was like, oh, he's fucked. Yeah, he's going to die.
Yes. And at this point, now that he's skewered the guy and the tablet's broken, so he can't watch more of how to undo what he's done, he is like, well, I've got to write a note so when they find my body, they know what happened. Now, the only thing he has to write a note on is Mildred's journal. And out of that journal falls the directions for the binding ritual that she has used to kind of bind all the ghosts to her.
Yeah.
And this is where he gets the idea that, like, I have to steal her following, basically, or make it impossible for her to have the power that she has over these ghosts, which is a pretty big leap.
Oh, yeah. This is a wild swing at what is going on in this, like, ghost's life. And honestly, it does not pay off the way he wants it to. So I think he was at least a little bit wrong.
I think so. But he does, like, assemble his kit and break back into the house where he makes, like a spear and attaches a camera to it. So it's spear cam.
Spear cam,
yeah,
baby.
Love it.
And I do love his, like, little kit, like, because he puts the crucifix on. He goes back to where he found those needles, like the used needles or whatever.
Oh, the heroin needles? Yes. He fills the heroin syringe with holy water.
Holy water, yeah.
All of that pays off. I loved it. I thought it was great.
And so he goes back into the house and he's calling out for her. And he takes the cleaver off the wall and he draws a hand on the floor, like a big chalk hand. He tries to lure her into there and ends up cleavering her in the head and then attaching a camera to her that says "Mill Dead Camera," which is great.
He is living the scariest night of his life. And the dude has like the presence of mind to make a joke about the title of the camera. And that to me was like, great. I loved it.
Well, and with her kind of laying there, he does peek into the nursery. And this is where he sees the like kid with the Quarto.
Ugh. Yeah. Which when you see that kid, knowing what's going on with Mildred, like, I would not walk towards that child. Like, that is not a real child. That is a ghost trying to murder me.
Yeah.
But the kid has got a large Quarto.
It's as big as he is. Like, it's like a twin.
I don't think they could move fast.
Well, the kid doesn't come after him. Mildred comes after him because he goes into like the safe room, air quotes, and the lights go out. And she's like, I need to show you something. And when the lights come back on, he's got like the milky dead eyes and he's in the tub in the bathroom.
That was so freaky because so this is the pond water, right? And this is how I think Mildred kills the people who come to the house that then become ghosts with her.
Right.
So like she, I think, drowns them in the pond water, which is really just like dirty bath water, which is super gross. And so we see him sort of fighting it, but her sort of drowning him.
Right. And until he kind of snaps out of it and he's like, I am the influencer. And you're just like, oh,
so
God.
Funny.
Man, but it's
my God.
It is like him taking back control from the possession that she's doing to get him to, quote unquote, take his own life, although under her influence, right?
Right.
And it's just such a silly line to say to indicate that he's taking control back. And I loved it.
Yes.
It's the humor that really makes it work.
Yeah.
And man, I was really impressed with this movie.
Well, and this is where something comes up out of the water, like another kind of zombie, and he like strangles it in the shower curtain and stabs it with the holy water syringe.
Paige. Okay.
Well, it's only got one eye because he ate the other eye.
Yes.
That's right. He ate the other eye.
Yes. And so he stabs it, he squirts the holy water into it, and then he takes the shower curtain off over it, which why would you do that?
Because he's a taunter. He likes to taunt his ghosts after he kills them.
Honestly, he probably did it for the views, bro.
Yeah. True.
But it explodes in his face.
It's real gross.
It's so gross.
But he then kind of like a cyst, and he had like talked about cysts earlier, so like it's a particular gross point for him.
Yes, it absolutely is.
He throws the book of poems into the hallway and then watches on the camera for it to move, and then goes and tries to use the cleaver to slice around it to try and get her hand. But she jumps down from above and just says, "Smash that like button!"
As she's smashing his head into the ground. Oh my God.
But this is where he cleavers her and puts a camera on her. And of course, she only stays down for a little bit.
Yeah.
She gets up. He lures her into the room where he's drawn the hand, and he like tapes her down. He hits her with a chair to knock her down again.
I love that because he like lures her in.
Yes.
And then as she gets about where he needs her to be on the hand, he comes out with a chair and goes, "Surprise, bitch!" and then hits her with the chair. It's so silly but so funny. It's so great.
Well, and duct tape is no match for her. She gets up and she tries to stick her fingers in her nose, and her finger gets like extra long. It's real creepy.
Oh yeah. Well, the reason she laughs, I think, Paige, is because he did not sacrifice anything when doing this spell, whatever it is, right? So she knows it didn't work.
Right. I wish my fingers could do that.
Extend
just
like
grow
that?
longer.
Why is that, Mikey? Can you illuminate us as to why you might want your fingers to be able to?
Sometimes you got some bats really far up in the cave.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to point. Sometimes you gotta.
You know what I find is really useful when someone's like across the street and I want them to come over.
Yeah, so come hither. Come
hither.
Length is not as powerful as girth in that situation. I'm just here to tell you. Thank you.
Hang on. Can you say that again? I'm just taking some notes.
Yeah.
Anyway. So she is coming after him. He's crawling away. He crawls downstairs.
They're like crawling after each other because she has the meat cleaver in her head, and he is like, damn, his legs are fucked up from the jump, and like he's injured too.
Right.
So they're just like crawling down the stairs and like into other rooms.
And his eyes swelling up in like real time.
Well, because she sprayed him with bug spray. Yeah.
One of his eyes is shut at the end of this movie.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Well, and as he's crawling, he's like, oh my, he finds her finger and he's like, a sacrifice.
Yes. That's when he learns why it didn't work, right?
Right. And the chat is like, please give up. Like, please stop.
Well, because he actually was like, I think I can't go any longer. Like, I can't do this. And so, like, some of the people in chat were like, yeah, just fucking end it, bro. Like, PewDiePie's way better or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But so he cuts his own finger off with the cleaver and duct tapes it. And literally immediately she splorts into a giant thing of blood and is gone.
And you watch it on the Mildred cam.
Yeah, on the Mildred cam.
Yeah.
And he's like, I fucking did it. He plays his outro song. He checks the stream. And he's like, I'm a little emotion. Suck on that, Huffington Post.
Dude, Suck on that, Huffington Post literally made me laugh. And he is playing his like outro song, but I really badly wanted it to be just like the Final Fantasy bum 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 bum,
or like Final Countdown, like da 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 da.
I would have taken either, but they couldn't probably afford the rights to either.
They couldn't afford the rights. But as he's kind of walking around the room, you'll notice that he has the long, crazy finger now.
Oh, shit.
On his hand. Yes. And all of the ghosts in the house start to creep in because he's now bound them to himself.
Yes.
And it says, weak signal, your stream has ended. And
that's the movie.
And it ends like on that jump scare of him opening the front door trying to get out and the last ghost kind of popping out into him. Like, oh. So like, up until the very last frame of this, I was terrified.
Yes.
But having seen this movie, having talked about this movie, what do you guys think about Deadstream?
I really like it. I do want a sequel where he's like in control of the ghost or some sort of Evil Dead ridiculous thing to go forward.
Oh my, that would be fun. Yeah.
Or they follow him around in his life or something where it's just terrifying.
He's still trying to do it, but like he's got like a demon key grip, like holding the mic. Like,
or the sequel could be about him trying to get his soul back from the devil, but with the ghosts involved trying to stop him and stuff.
I kind of like it as a standalone, though. I do like it as a standalone. I think it's fun as a standalone.
But I loved it. I thought it was super creative, and it was kind of a breath of fresh air with movies. Tonally, a lot of the movies we've been watching lately have been like really dark.
Yeah.
It's serious. And I like this one because it's scary, but not dark and serious, if that makes sense.
And you know what I think is interesting, Mikey, is that like the horror comedies we've seen, I think are funny and not scary.
Yeah.
I think this is a horror comedy, but it is funny
but
and
it's a true
very
hybrid,
scary. Yeah.
I really liked this. I think for me, I prefer this to Dashcam, even though I do think Dashcam is scarier.
I mean, Dashcam was also very scary. I will 100% agree with that. I just find this way more watch. I'll never go watch Dashcam again.
I just want more haunted house movies. Just everybody keep cranking them out for me.
Man, Mikey, this is like your wheelhouse. And we talked a little bit about this while we were watching it. But like you love haunted house movies and you love found footage. And this is like a perfect combination of those two things.
Yeah.
And I think a very Mikey package because of the comedy element of it. But it's also still very scary. Oof.
It's like watching someone you know go through it.
Are you saying that because it's like if I was going through it?
I mean, that's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm not saying. That's what people are saying.
Yeah, I hear people talking about it.
A lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about it. Yeah, listen.
There's a Facebook comment already of like, how mad is Todd that you think this is just like him?
Oh, yeah, no, I saw that comment. I didn't respond to it, but I mean, I get it. Like, I understand why you saw that. I saw me in this guy. And I do think the only difference would be in some of the less scary moments, I would have just been making up songs about random things in the room. And that's that little sweet portion that I bring to the table.
There you go.
I really do love this movie. I probably will not watch it again unless I'm forced to. But this is one of those movies that makes me want to watch it until I get so comfortable with the scary moments that I can watch it and not have to worry. Like I don't have any of the scared anxiety that I have when I watch these movies because it is like worth it. Like it is that good of a movie.
It's very fun.
It's insane to me how like solid this movie is. And how I've never heard of these people who made this movie. They just crushed it. And I'm sure this is not their first attempt at a movie, but like they crushed this.
Well, and this is one of those things where like we try to do popular movies that people have seen that they can easily stream because we want people to be able to interact with the show in that way. But sometimes it's really fun to do a movie that not many people know about and maybe isn't as widely known because it might still be awesome. And I think this is kind of the perfect intersection.
I 100% agree. But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
Very few.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
Very few
fun facts.
So this, I already kind of blew one fun fact with the Klaatu Barada Nikto, but this movie was also filmed in the same house as the 1999 HBO film Made Men, starring Jim Belushi, Michael Beach, and Timothy Dalton.
Okay.
It's just super run down now. And Chrissy's button on her jean jacket before she turns into Mildred says dead inside, hinting at her being a supernatural entity.
That is wonderful.
Now, this movie, while not directly associated with Evil Dead, borrows heavily from the series. Both main characters sever a body part, specifically part of their hand. Both summon spirits using an incantation on accident. Both get covered in body fluids and both employ slapstick comedy. I do think that, like, if you like Evil Dead, you will probably like this movie.
I think that's yes, 100%. I do think maybe Evil Dead is funnier on some level and not as scary.
I think that's Bruce Campbell.
I think so too. I also think Bruce Campbell is way more charming than this guy is in this movie. And I think that's by design. I think that's a character choice, that he's trying to do that annoying Todd impression that he's doing, and I get it. But whereas Evil Dead is not necessarily scary, this very much is.
Right. And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. I wish I could do box office because I am interested to know how much this movie cost them to make, because this kind of stuff, especially the low budget stuff, is super interesting to me. Like, how do you make a movie on this quality of a movie on that low of a budget?
Yeah.
But I just don't know those figures because they have not shared that information, and they may never share that information. It's completely up to them. So yeah, we don't have anything for box office. I apologize.
Wow. I guess I'll do the scary scale.
Yeah. So Mikey, maybe you could hit us with the scary scale.
Yeah, our scary scale listeners, how scary we found the film. We watched it today. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters, and our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Paige.
I'm going to give it a 3.
Shit. Oh my God.
Todd.
I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 4. It scared me. I forgot all the jump scares, and I got scared all over again to this today.
What was it the first time you saw it though, Mikey? Because this is your second watch, question mark?
It had to be up there. It had to be when I watched it alone, so it was scarier. Probably like a 7.
Yeah, you guys saw me. I was yelling. I was jumping out of my seat. So scared.
After her body disappears, when he sneaks down the stairs with her hanging body and moves the tablet and her face is there, I was like, fuck this movie.
Yeah, 100%. That was the moment I was like, I hate this. I hate this so much. I can't do this anymore. I hate this movie. But it is like the humor moments that bring you back. Like, it really does.
Well, and I guess for me, there's a point where even though there are those moments, like those jump scares, for me, it's still fun. And so I'll be like, ha, 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 and like laugh out of it.
Yeah, for me, I just feel so anxious the whole time. And the jump scares, like I do jump, they do scare me. But then there is no release from that. It's just like the anxiety is just still there. So like it doesn't make me want to laugh afterwards.
I mean, you saw me laugh way too much.
No,
in this movie.
I mean, yeah, you were laughing almost the entire movie.
So when I say 3, you're like, yeah, that's about what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you were incorrect with your scale. No. So this week, Mikey, you made us watch Deadstream. Next week, it is listener requests. And the listeners whittled down their choices to 4 choices: The Menu, Knock on the Cabin, Orphan, First Kill, and Terrifier. And in their infinite wisdom, the listeners overwhelmingly chose The Menu for us to do next week. So your homework for next week is to, let's just do this. Treat yourself to a nice, lovely meal and try not to die at that dinner, and then go home and watch The Menu. And then check back next week for that episode. But Mikey, do you have a review for us to read?
No.
Well, while you're looking one up, let me tell them how they can have their review read on the podcast. And that is to leave us a 5-star text review, and we'll have Mikey read it for you. So Mikey, whose review are you going to read this week?
I'm going to do Therapy for a Therapist.
Oh, okay. Is that the name of the person who left the review?
That's the title of her review.
Okay.
Is Redhead Chick 95.
I was about to say, how do you know it's a her? But that makes sense.
Look me up, girl. So the review starts, Paige, Todd, and Mikey are sometimes the only thing holding me together during my busy days as a social worker, full-time grad student, and weekend bartender.
Oh, wow. You're busy.
Yeah. Most of my free time is in the car, and these guys keep me company through good days and bad and make me laugh even when it seems impossible.
Oh,
I can especially relate to Mikey because I also work in the mental health and crisis prevention, and I love movies as an escape.
that's like you, Mikey. That's what you do.
Yes, that's what I do. And I do like redheads grow, so hello.
Mikey, finish reading the review before you try and pick up the reviewer.
Sorry. Paige is one of the funniest people I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And an inspiration to me to keep working hard. Todd is okay too.
Wow. Really? Is that what it says?
Yeah, it does say that. Wow. No, then it says ... Just kidding. He's amazing. And
Okay.
And we geek out about movies and music the same way, but pretty much he's okay too.
I'm sure you were just refocusing on that. She didn't say that again.
Thank you so much for all you guys do. If I could give a speech thanking people at my graduation in a month, you guys would be high on the list. 5 stars.
Well, here's the deal. Just maybe walk up there and start giving that speech. I'm not sure they'd stop you.
I mean, they probably would.
They probably would. That's probably a bad idea. Don't do that. Well, thank you so much for the awesome 5-star review, Redhead Chick 95. And if you want to have Mikey read your 5-star review and possibly hit on you, leave us a 5-star review. So, guys, if you like this show but want to hear this power throuple on another movie review show about romance and romantic comedies, check out Romancing the Pod, where Mikey, Paige, and I break down and make fun of romantic movies. It's a lot of fun, guys. Check it out. If you want to follow us on social, please do. we are at Horror Virgin or online at horrorvirgin.com. If you want to follow us all individually, you can do that as well. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Twitter or Rampage Wesley everywhere else, including TikTok. Mikey is at mrandolph24 and I am at Todd J. Awesome. If you like the show so much and you want to help financially support it, please do by going to patreon.com/horrorvirgin, where you can get a lot of great levels and a lot of great stuff like bonus episodes, director's cut episodes where they're a little bit longer and you get them actually a day earlier than the regular feed drop. We do a lot of great things like listener requests and stuff like that. So guys, check out the Patreon and help support the show.
If you want to financially support me, but not Todd, just look me up on Venmo.
If you can't financially support the show, that's understandable. That's fine. But if you want to hang out with us on the daily, join the Facebook group at facebook.com/group/horrorvirgin. We also link it like once a week, so just find it there and join the awesome Facebook group. Literally, we're in there talking every day. It's awesome. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff.
Yeah.
And if you want to check out our Twitch stream, we're at twitch.tv/Todd Awesome, where we will be playing horror video games. So if you have always wondered what it would be like to watch me get scared, you can now do that on Twitch while I play these horror games. It's twitch.tv/Todd Awesome, guys. Check it out. It's a lot of fun for you. Not a lot of fun for me. And if you haven't noticed, since October 1st, we have been running the new Horror Virgin blog. And when I say we, I really mean Katie from the Facebook group. She's been running everything. She's like the managing editor of the Horror Virgin blog. So if you haven't been to our Horror Virgin blog, go check it out. It's at horrorvirgin.com/blog. You'll see it. It's awesome. There's a lot of great articles. I mean, at the end of October, we have 31 awesome articles up, but check out our awesome Horror Virgin blog up now. This episode was brought to you by Tia, and Tia's teenagers have been driving her crazy.
She keeps biting people on the neck for no reason.
Unprovoked. Like, you don't, no, listen.
Unprovoked.
If anybody does that to me, I'm going to lose my mind. Tia's teenagers, stop doing that. This episode also brought to you by John, and John wants us to watch a video. So I'm going to share my screen and share the video with you now.
All
you guys
right.
ready? Boom. It's called I've Been Waiting to Do This for a While Now.
Oh, nice.
I literally made a Team America joke earlier today.
Save the motherfucking day, yeah.
But it's Captain America. So it's the Team America theme song with Captain America kicking ass. And honestly, that is what I wanted. I didn't love the marionette version we got.
Now we got to answer to America.
I didn't hate the marionette version, but it's stuck on my balls.
My favorite part of this song is when they just list all the things at the end that they think are American.
Yes.
And it's both the funniest and most offensive part of the song.
Yeah.
But it is also wildly accurate. And that's why it's so funny to me. McDonald's, fuck yeah. Oh, they cut it off right before it happened.
Is it Trey Parker or Matt Stone's band? I can't remember.
It's Trey Parker.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it's McDonald's, fuck yeah. IRS, fuck yeah. And it just gets progressively more and more offensive.
It is great.
I'm always tickled.
Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for that awesome video, and we appreciate it. And thank you so much for the support. We now return you to another episode of the Patreonicals.
All right, look, this isn't going to be a good episode. I'm tired. We're all tired.
Mikey, I've been up for 23 hours, and we're about to go pick up Mondo.
You can go to sleep, and Paige and I can go pick him up.
No, and then hear you guys give me shit about not going to Waffle House for 4 years.
We wouldn't do that. We would enjoy it probably the most out of any meal that we've had so far.
One day, I'm going to stop thinking you're making jokes and start to get really offended by all of this.
Sure.
Yeah, you're like, take it however you want, buddy.
I'm just saying you can go to sleep if you need to. It's not, we have plenty of time to go to Waffle House with Mondo.
Yeah, like tonight.
Waffle House,
fuck yeah!
Throwing some chairs and eating motherfucking omelets.
Okay.
Mikey, if you don't start Patreonicals, Paige and I are going to start singing.
Yeah.
That's just what's going to happen.
I'm trying to start, but you keep interrupting me.
I apologize.
Okay. It opens up on the Munstar.
Nice.
There's a planet of adorable half-elf type people who are peaceful and all live in trees, and their whole planet is peaceful.
What's the name of their planet, Mikey?
Half elf, forest, peaceful planet, the planet.
That is a long name. I do like how it's all of those things, the planet.
They're very like apt. They're not
very analytical.
Like,
everything has to be most correct. Yes. Okay. Sort of like Spock's people on some level.
Right.
Which makes sense because the ears, if you think about it.
They open up and then Wes, the handsome guy, they're forcing him to look at the planet. Aaron, the moon general, is. Libby, the new Mun queen.
Yes. Because she like had a coup and took over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her and Alex, the magician, are making out. And then they get on the comms and they're like, tell us where the people are.
We want to see them dancing.
We want to know where the people are.
We don't have a name for the other group of people. I just thought of that. Well, anyway, the forest planet doesn't know. And so they're like, fuck it.
What's the opposite of a crouton?
Wet bread. So it's pasta.
Wet bread?
Pasta is the opposite of a crouton.
Pasta.
Yeah.
Pasta? Okay. Well, anyway, they're like, well, if y'all don't really know, you stupid analytical elves, we're just going to blow your whole planet up. And then they do.
What?
And the planet blows up. Billions die.
The Pastafarians get killed?
They're dead.
Oh,
They're so dead. Like body parts hit the spaceship.
So dead.
I wish I had known that they weren't going to be around very long when I asked you to like define their planet for us and have me emotionally connect to half-elf forest land, the planet.
I could be halfway done with this episode, but Todd is adding a lot to this episode.
No, but Mikey, here's what you don't realize. Here's why it's so tragic is because like when they exploded, they hit the walls of the spaceship and they were al dente.
They also had cured cancer, but not shared it with anyone else.
Oh, damn it.
So their body parts hit the view screen of the Munch ship, and Alex and Libby
turn on their big wiper,
awkwardly make out and butt sex in front of.
What the why?
Butt sex is not the way it sounds. Like it's butt to
butts.
butt.
They just rub butts.
Yeah.
They rub butts.
And then Alex the magician's like, I made that planet disappear. Ta-da.
Ta-da.
And they're like, we need to find the group before they get to the center of the galaxy. So cut to the other ship, the Santa Maria.
And they're the ones going to the center of the galaxy to find the crystal, right?
It's got it's like the Santa Maria with spaceship wings and like lots of domes. It's bigger. It's fun. But they've landed on a planet to like ask for directions.
It's like a Carnival cruise ship in space, Paige.
2 zip lines, 3 water slides, pizza 24 hours a day, and norovirus to anyone who wants it.
You're gonna love the rock wall in 0G.
Did you say wave pool? More like grave pool. I'm sorry. I'm getting out of hand. I'm getting too excited.
Yeah.
I've never seen you two so hyped when I've got to this part of the podcast.
We have had too many energy drinks today.
I'm not used to you two talking and just being like, wrap it up, Mikey.
Well, I could just go back to looking at pictures of hot people on my phone.
Mikey, I would never tell you to wrap it up because I know you don't handle it well when you hear that news.
That's funny. That's pretty funny. Okay, so they stop at a space gas station.
Of course. I mean, how else are you going to get around, guys?
You got to ask for directions.
Yeah.
So Isaac goes to the little deli counter they have, and he orders body parts so he can do his cannibalism at the
Which
gas
body
station.
parts?
We don't know. It's a species that has they're like octopi, but they're a sentient space beings, but their limbs grow back, so they cut off their own limbs, cook them, and then serve them to other species at rest stops.
Okay. I love this rural gas station attendant alien you've created for us. I think it's wonderful.
And then Kate is she's like talking to the dude, and he's like, where's the center of the galaxy? And he's like, I'll draw you a map.
With one of my other 7 arms while I cook and prepare my 8th arm for you all to eat.
Karun and Natasha, who are the last 2 Kryptonians left.
Of course.
They buy a space radio, because they're looking for surviving Kryptonians out.
When you
in
say space radio, you don't mean like AM radio. You mean like a ham radio that you can like talk over?
It's an SM radio for like space.
S&M.
Yeah.
I do love a good BDSM radio.
Anyway, they're going to try to look for survivors of their species.
Okay. Because their planet got blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Allie the mermaid, she's inside. She's getting snacks. They actually have like little canisters of fish food that she can sprinkle out, and they float in the 0G, and she
like just swims up to them and eats them.
Uh-huh.
I do love that. Is it like tuna fish? Is she eating tuna fish? That actually brings up an interesting question. Does she eat human food or does she eat like fish food?
She can do both.
Okay. I guess humans, I guess I could eat fish food if I wanted to.
Yeah, we can all do both, actually. Both species can do both.
Okay.
Yeah, that answers all that. Anyway, Bo Easy, the Florida man, he is inside the gas station and he is just buying Bud Light.
Hell yeah.
And other, things like gas station supplements to, he's like,
what? I need some Bud Light. I need a 5-hour energy, some condoms, a snack pack, and the male enhancement pills that definitely work.
Yeah. He's like, if I take, he's like intergalactic male enhancement pills. What's not? I mean, it's got to work.
Mikey, would you try them?
In space? Yeah, I mean,
I'd
guess.
see what was up. Yeah, maybe this rural gas station attendant figured it out.
Maybe I don't understand science. And that's a weird way to start this sentence, but here we are. Maybe I don't understand science, but if there's less gravity, couldn't your erection get taller because nothing's holding it down?
I gotta get to space.
Get your ass to Mars.
That doesn't work, Paige, because if you have an erection and you point down, it does not get taller as well.
Oh, hey, yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
I did a science experiment just now in my head.
Thanks for informing me about the science.
Yeah.
Science.
Welcome back to Boner Busters, where we break down all the boner myths out and tell you if they're a myth or not.
She bonered me with science.
Jeremy with laser eyes. Jeremy with laser eyes. He uses his laser eyes to warm up a kebab, but then at the corner of his eye, in the back of the gas truck stop space station, he sees that they sell robotic replacement toes, and he finds a replacement toe and he cries tears of laser joy.
Oh my God, Mikey, if he has a robotic toe, he'll be unstoppable.
Who could stop a man with a robotic toe? We have the technology. We can refoot him.
Re-toe, technically.
Oh, Lauren, the cave person, goes in there and buys some gummy snacks.
Nice. Okay.
That's all I got for that one. Mr. Rage Bomb is messing around with their time device.
Hell yeah.
With Driscoll, and he's like, we're being like a whole space empire's average. We got to get better. And Driscoll's like, we've got to keep going towards the center until we get this damn thing working. We need something. I don't know what it is. Like, we're trying to figure it out. And he's just like, damn it, dude. And he's like, I'm just going to, my only skill is to blow up. And it's really hard to make that useful in deep space. And like,
in every episode.
Yeah, it's like real hard. And then Driscoll's like,
especially in a time of relative peace.
Yeah. And he's like, shut the fuck up, bro.
I think maybe he can do something with the engine because of his explodey power capability.
No, he just goes inside and pees.
He's like, you can make him useful. Nah, he's just going to take a leak.
Mm-hmm. Vance, H.H. Holmes, he actually kills another innocent passerby.
He's like, I made this totally nondescript trailer. I'd like you to step inside.
Yeah. He invites them into like a little trailer and kills them. And that person had a family waiting back in their car that they'll never see.
Why are you giving me their backstory after their death?
He had 3 kids, and he was really excited because one of them had cancer, and they were getting the cure from the analytical elf planet / the colon planet, and now they're not going to get it. So that family's had a real bad time.
Oh my God, Mikey! You have killed, in this moment, the father of this family. But whenever the cancer takes that child's gonna go.
That's
what happens when the Aquarius takes it?
This may be the darkest Patreonical episode ever.
I don't know. Veronica, the heavy metal bitch, she goes inside and she's playing her guitar, and then
I don't know if we should call our patrons bitches.
I don't like when you two pay attention to this section of the podcast that no one has paid attention to in like 2 months.
I give you 100% every Patreonical. You can go back and listen.
Anyway, the gas station attendant is like, that's what I'm looking for. I need that as the muzak of this gas station. And then he records her, and now they play it on loop.
I love that they have muzak in space, like specifically muzak.
The lost Russian astronaut, he buys some vodka because
he wants to feel at home. I get that.
Yeah, his whole character is a Russian stereotype at this point. We'll do better next week.
Oh, yes, you mean cosmonaut Yakov Smirnov?
Andrew Cosmonaut is his name. It's a secret name.
Oh, yeah, the very secret name, Andrew, his first name, and then Cosmonaut, what he does.
So Captain Brooder, he gets the directions and inputs them into Sunzi, the AI robot, and Sunzi's like, Vance had killed somebody in the ship, and what are we going to do about it? And Jennifer with a PH, who I forgot what I did with her last week, she now makes force fields.
Okay.
Ooh.
And she puts Vance in a force field for now. And Brooder like gets on the PA and he's like, everybody get back to the ship. We got a problem. And that's how the thing ends.
Oh, wow. It's leaving it on quite a cliffhanger here. But I guess we'll have to wait till next week to find out what happens on another episode of The Patreonicals.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Keep it ooky spooky.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
Bye. We need to leave to go pick up Mondo nerds.